Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub so you don't miss any of the content we have coming out. And today we're going to be getting into Empyre. Today we're going to be covering Avengers issue number 0. If you haven't checked out the prequel, the Kree-Skrull War, I'm going to leave a link for you guys to check that out. And without further ado, let's dive in. So diving into this issue, we're met with Tony Stark having some inner monologue going on. And he's essentially remembering the Kree and the Cotati War. Now, I covered this in another video, but I'm going to cover it just a little bit, give a little bit of the basis here of what's going on. So the Skrulls came down and told everybody, planet by planet, we want you to compete to see who gets our technology. The Cotati and the Kree were the ones on this planet, so they competed. And the Skrull brought them to Earth's moon, created an atmosphere, and told them to build. And they were given an opportunity to see who could make the most magnificent society, essentially. The Kree, seeing that they had been defeated, because the Cotati just built a giant garden. They didn't build buildings and towers and weapons. They just built something that would be better for all of humanity. And because of this, the Kree massacred all of them. And when the Skrull came down, the Kree killed all of them, took their spaceships, and this is what began the billion-year war between these two nations. And this is where we see Tony wake up from his sleep. And he'd been dreaming all of this, but not necessarily a dream. Like, this is all things that he has seen. Immortus essentially gave him a vision to see the massacre, so he knows exactly how it started. He has an understanding, so he can possibly defuse it or fight this situation in some way, in some manner. And as he wakes up, he gets a message. And it's a message from the blue area of the moon, the area of the moon that has the atmosphere, because it's still technically there. And coming across the blue area, the Black Panther lets them know, like, it's no longer blue, it's all green. There's a giant forest here now that wasn't here before. This was the Kree's achievement, the city they built out of lunar minerals and all of this. But now we're seeing a giant garden just taking over everything. And so as the Avengers land and they start to search the area, at first they don't see any sign of life or anything of that nature, but then they see a Kree sentry. But it's not any normal Kree sentry. This is a Kree sentry mixed with Skrull technology. So it's kind of like a hybrid of the two. And it's really cool. We get to see a lot of different Avengers here going against this thing. You know, Thor tries to take it on and gets blasted. Carol Danvers tries to absorb the energy blast from it and is unable to. But then in the bushes, somebody pops out. And it's no other than Jakku the Swordsman. And with his help, all the Avengers are able to take this thing down. And the new Ghost Rider is really trying to figure out, like, who this is, because, you know, he's not somebody that's been around the Avengers for a long time when talking in regards of the Swordsman. But he has had adventures with Thor and things of that nature. And it gives a little more backstory. Like, this isn't Jakku the Swordsman that we regularly know. This is Jakku the Swordsman whose body was essentially reseeded by the Cotati. So he was given Cotati almost artificial intelligence, but remembering all his memories and having all of his skills. You know, and he originally had died for the Celestial Madonna. And we talked about that a little bit in the previous video. But Jakku was pretty much given a second chance by the Cotati. And the Swordsman goes on to tell him that this forest was created to rebuild the species, to help them have a chance at surviving again. And this is where we're met with Sequoia, the celestial messiah. He's supposed to be like the space Jesus. He's supposed to help bring unity and peace to the entire universe. And this is the product of Mantis, or the Celestial Madonna. She essentially had a universal destiny, and while she's out there in the stars, Sequoia is here, getting ready for what's to come. And the Celestial Messiah really lets them know, like this is where we're gonna rebirth. This is gonna be our first step to redeeming our species and our nation and our lifestyles. But we need the Avengers' help to do all of this. And just like that, Thor calls down lightning and essentially causes it to rain, helping all the green rebirth into yet another even vaster forest. And so as they all sit around a campfire, they're really contemplating on what to do next. You know, they understand that thing was a hybrid of Kree and Skrull manipulation. And Carol Danvers kind of finds it hard to accept that these two nations, after a billion years of war, have actually become allies and found peace. But they have something to ally against, and that's the Cotati. You know, the Kree hated them in their very bones. They massacred, or at least attempted to massacre every last one of them. And now that the Skrulls have become more bloodthirsty, they see these guys as a mistake because they chose pacifists over the warrior way. And so essentially uniting Kree and Skrull, they're going to wipe out their mistake of the past. This is essentially saying, hey guys, like, no hard feelings, we can be a team together and knock this out. And of course, you know, behind the person that has unified the Kree and Skrull, you have people behind the throne that are manipulating the situation the best they can for their own gain and their own benefits. And so as this fleet gets closer, the Avengers know what they have to do. And this is where we see Tony Stark stand up and give one of his amazing speeches, and he just lets them know, like, no matter what, like, this is no different than any other day. We're the Avengers. We're supposed to protect people. These people need protection because there's a giant armada army headed our way right now. So essentially, they're going to protect the innocent by all means, no matter what, no matter who gets in their way. And this is where we see the Fantastic Four. And they seem to be possibly traveling with the Kree and the Kree and the Skrulls, but that may not necessarily be the case. We're going to definitely dive into that when issue number 0 of Empyre for Fantastic Four comes out, which I'm really excited for. And with that being said, that will be the end of this issue. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments. I am really excited to see where Empyre is going to take us. It seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I like how they're going to be bringing in a little bit of everybody into this. So I'm really excited just to see how this all plays out and see what the Avengers do to take on essentially the biggest military force that the universe has ever seen. So yeah, if you guys haven't, be sure to like and subscribe to the page, and until the next video.